Stan Gibilisco here, proprietor and operator of amateur radio station W1GV, Whiskey 1 Good Vibrations. At least one viewer has noted a definite deterioration of conditions on the high-frequency amateur bands during the recent solar flare, or the solar flare of mid-September 2018. And in order to explain why that might happen, say, on 20 meters during the daytime, suppose you're having a nice contact on 20 meters during the daytime, and conditions are relatively normal. Your signal will pass through the D layer because the D layer is not densely ionized enough to prevent daytime communication on 20 meters. Now the situation is different at lower frequencies, say 40 and 80 meters, where this ionization level is sufficient during the daytime to block signals from passing through, but during the nighttime they can get through. However, during the daytime, signals can get through the D layer because at those frequencies they simply can make it through that densely ionized, normally blocking layer of the ionosphere. This layer rarely serves any purpose other than to impede communications by interfering with their signal's ability to get to the E or F layers where they can travel for long distances. Normally in the daytime, you will get a signal, say from you are here and your buddy is here. Your signal travels right through the D layer because the frequency is too high for the D layer to block, or the D layer is not dense enough to block signals at 14 megahertz. Sometimes some of it will get through to the E layer and cause what's known as sporadic E propagation, but usually it's the F1 layer or F2 layer or both. In the daytime, the F1 layer predominates on 14 megahertz. The signal gets through the D layer up to here and can propagate a long way to get back down to your buddy, and sometimes even make multiple hops. But that's during daylight conditions. At night, the F1 and F2 layers may vanish altogether. Sometimes they will merge, but they may not be dense enough to propagate 20 meter signals. But suppose you're having a regular QSO during the daytime on 20 meters. Your signals pass through the D layer, reach the F1 layer, and are refracted actually back down to your buddy at some distance, say 4,000 miles away. Then a geomagnetic storm and disturbance occur. Now those disturbances can often dramatically increase the density of the ionization at the D layer. So much so, in fact, that the signal that you normally have heard traveling through the D layer to the F1 layer and back down to the Earth through the D layer again, suddenly you can't hear that signal anymore because the D layer has increased in density and is now blocking that signal even at 14 megahertz. It might even happen at higher frequencies, higher perhaps than the maximum usable frequency, and the effect can occur with such suddenness. The effects of during a coronal event or a solar event such as the type of mid-September 2018, these ionization levels here in the D layer can increase so fast and so suddenly that you experience what is known as a blackout. You'll hear signals normally propagating through the D layer to the F1 layer and back down to Earth, and then suddenly the D layer becomes much more absorptive and your signals can't get through the D layer all of a sudden, and that station, your buddy that you were copying 5 by 9 or 599, suddenly just goes away. Boom! The whole band may even appear to suddenly just die. And the reason is because of the dramatic and sudden ionization increase that occurs at the D layer level when that excited ionosphere increases the number of charged particles that strike it and affect it and ionize it. That is why you hear these blackouts, and they can be exasperating indeed, as one viewer at least has noted to me in the video about the solar event. I think it's the one just before this one. In any case, Stan Gibilisco, W1, GV, Whiskey 1 Good Vibrations, will now say 73 and so long, which, however dense the D layer may be, always translates to da-da-da-da-da-da.